Hey everybody, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday, where I answer the questions that you have that are most common about your health and fitness goals. So first of all, before I even get started tonight, I have to apologize. I've just started school term number 2, and I'm a little fried at this point. The classes are going great, but catching up on homework when you're working full time is a little rough. So anyway, I'm a little fried. So if I don't make sense, or I've already had some issues today with coming up with certain words. So if I lose my vocabulary, that's just why. It's my brain's in multiple places. But I have a great topic today, and it's really one of those topics it's hard to find information on. But I listened to a podcast last week by somebody I really respect and admire, who's had some extreme health issues with her gut. And one of the things she mentioned really hit me. We're going to talk today a little bit about what you are actually doing when you eat. Now, what I mean by that is, are you actually sitting at a table enjoying your meal, or are you on a dead run and you're trying to shove fast food in your face? Now, obviously, what you eat is extremely important. We know that. We've talked about that. If you haven't listened to anything that I have posted in my Facebook Lives or on my YouTube channel, go back and watch some of it. We talked about a really great topic last week about how stress prevents you biologically from losing weight. You cannot be stressed and lose weight at the same time. Your body can't do both. So, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that plays a role in when you're trying to be healthy and how you feel. But one of the big things I have come up with is a lot of people really have some digestive issues, situations with bloating or with, just hurting, or a lot to it. Now, there may be a medical issue, so make sure that if you do have these issues that you get checked by your primary care physician. Maybe you have an ulcer or leaky gut, or there's a lot there. Make sure you also do your research, because sometimes there's a lot more behind it. And just taking a pill isn't always going to solve it. That might deal with some of the symptoms, but it doesn't solve the actual problem itself or whatever's causing those issues. However, let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do when you eat. If you've ever, shoved food in your face because you have 5 minutes between work and whatever's going on in your life, and then you have a stomach ache, or maybe, you're stressed out because you're upset with your boss, or whatever's going on, and, your stomach hurts and you have just a really big yucky feeling in your stomach, and so whatever you're eating just doesn't seem to digest. Those things actually matter. So what really brought me to this, like I said, I'm the weirdo that actually listens to lectures and podcasts when she lifts. And I was listening to this interesting situation where the gal was struggling so much and really just wasn't absorbing the nutrients that she was eating. And the one doctor that she went to, she was really excited because she had meticulously written everything down that she'd been eating. But the question that the doctor has wasn't, what are you eating? It was, what are you doing when you're eating? And I found that fascinating. But let's talk a little bit about our digestive system. One of the most interesting pieces of research that has been done lately is about the microbiome, and how all the bacteria in your gut, right, actually affect a lot of what goes on in your body, and that they're the ones that help you absorb certain things by producing enzymes. And we're not going to get too much in that today, but let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, have you ever had a situation where, when you're nervous, or you're scared to do something new, and you like, it feels like butterflies are in your stomach? We talk about how that's kind of the description of how you feel. That could be your gut's reaction to what's happening. Or if you've ever been super, super scared to do something, and your bladder just doesn't want to keep up with you. I know that's kind of embarrassing, but you know what I mean? There's some things that really happen. Your body responds to the psychological and emotional things that are going on in your world. So if you sit and you are super stressed out and you're trying to eat, how is your body going to deal with both of those things at the same time? Because of course, your intestines, both your large and your small intestines, where the absorption of the nutrients happen. And if your bacteria are being affected by however you feel, your emotion at the moment, it makes it very difficult for your body to do what it needs to do, which is absorb the nutrients. Because what does our body run on, right? I mean, the primary reason that we eat is for energy. It's for fuel. And so most of us think of food as a different situation, right? We do it because we want to be social, or because it's comfort, or we love it. which is fine. I get that. Like I'm the biggest fan of Thanksgiving there is, but food is fuel. And so the main reason that we eat is to allow our bodies to continue to function. I think we've really gotten to a point in this day and age where we're so focused on trying to lose weight and be thin and lean and look amazing and look athletic or build muscle, or we've really kind of forgot the whole purpose of food in general. And so now we just don't even think about what we do. We think, well, we're hungry, so we drive through the fast food drive-through. But there's so much more to it that we forget to slow down and really think about what we're doing and what we're accomplishing and how our body can be at the very best. And I call it optimal. It's not okay to just be okay. We want to be optimal. We want to feel good. Most of us want to look good too. But that being said, if you look good but you feel miserable, that's a really difficult position to be in. So let's talk a little bit about that. Sorry, I got to get back to my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. But let's talk a little bit about that. When we're kind of focused on what the other things that are going on in our lives, it's really tough to allow our body to be relaxed and to do what it needs to do. So like I said, what you eat matters, but what you're doing when you eat obviously matters as well. Let me give you an example. So years ago, when I was like age 22, I was teaching school, and at the time I actually was in a situation where I needed to get a divorce. And most of my life when I felt stressed out, I've wanted to eat and shove things in my face. And of course, I love chocolate, and my first temptation is always a bag of M&Ms, right? But I remember just being in this position where I was so upset and so distraught that I could not eat. My stomach hurt, and so it was really difficult to eat or digest anything. And at that time, I actually lived on, I'm sorry to say this, but Sun Chips, Kit Kat bars, and Dr. Pepper, full strength. But it was really difficult to eat anything at the time because I was so upset. And you may have found yourself in one of those positions where, maybe a loved one has died, or just something extremely difficult and challenging to deal with where your body just doesn't respond in a great way. So again, there are things, your body is smart, right? They actually talk about your gut as being the second brain, because what happens down there affects the rest of your body. So keep that in mind, that there's more than one effect, right? When your emotions are off, or you're having a difficult day, it can affect your digestion. So things that you might feel, or things that might be happening in order to make it difficult. And again, the symptoms could be bloat, digestive distress, just throwing up even. I mean, different bowel movements than you're used to. There's a lot that could be happening. So if it's not normal, you kind of got to take 2 steps back and check to see what's going on in my life. What am I doing when I'm actually eating? If you're at work and you're dealing with a really stressful day, even if you're eating something that's pretty decently healthy, but you're stressed out or upset, it's going to be really difficult for your body to utilize those nutrients for what it needs to do. So yeah, definitely being stressed out when you eat can make a difference. Don't read emails, get off your phone, those kind of things when you're trying to eat and be optimal, get the energy that you need from it, because it does affect your microbiome. Something they call fast and furious. I've been in that position where when I worked out of multiple gyms at the same time, the only time I had to eat was driving from one gym to the next. And meanwhile, it was healthy food, but I was scarfing it down as fast as I could go because that's all the time that I had. So number one, I wasn't even chewing it up to a point that my body could deal with it in an effective way and allow the enzymes to break it down the rest of the way. I definitely wasn't enjoying it. I was just getting it in because I knew if I didn't, I was going to be starving and be hangry. But probably not my best option, because obviously for our body to do the best it can, we need to slow down, relax, be mindful of what we're eating. And there's a big point to that. That is one of my tips today is, if you're mindful about what you're eating, how you feel when you're eating, you're going to probably make better choices. You're not going to overeat because you're not overriding those feelings that your body gives you of satiation and being full and being fine, right? So that can be a part of it. So eating on the go is probably not your best option. Eating when you travel can also be an issue. I have had friends that tend to have some serious digestive issues whenever they travel. Doesn't matter really what they're eating, they just tend to have some situations where they're uncomfortable, some stomach issues. So again, you kind of just, not only do you might have to do some mindful, meditative, relaxing techniques in order for your body to do what it needs to do when you're in that situation, if that affects you. And then, don't eat when you're angry, because that's just about like being stressed out. Whenever your body is producing the adrenaline and the epinephrine and the norepinephrine, your body is on high alert. And so it's very difficult for it to do what it needs to do with your digestion, because it's taking all the blood away from your digestive system and utilizing it for the things you need so that you can deal with the stressor that's happening right there. So my tips in this situation, again, there's not a lot of research on this or information, which I find really frustrating, because I want to know, I want to learn. But tips that I've come up with, again, nobody eats with their families anymore. Even my household, we're all going in so many directions, and I tend to work evenings. But if you can sit down as a family, put your phones away. Obviously, Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving, not just because it's great food, but because my whole family gathers around the table and we get to enjoy each other and play games. And it's the one day I just don't work, right? That and Christmas, because nobody wants to exercise on Christmas. But, it's the one day we take off, and I love it and I enjoy it and it's fun. So, eat with your family. We talked about eating mindfully and being aware of what you're doing. Definitely turn off your phone. Stop worrying about what everybody else. Stop scrolling through Instagram while you're eating and worrying about that she looks better than you. Come on, guys. First of all, you always know that that's a filter, but stop it. Stop it. Don't eat in the middle of the night. That's really kind of a difficult one. I know there are people that have to work night shift. A lot of shift work these days. Our world kind of runs 24/7. But it's been proven that when you don't follow your circadian rhythm, which is your body's innate clock, right? Your ability to sleep at night, rest, recover, reset, and there's a lot of things that happen with that. And then during the day, be awake, eat, digest. If you're not following your circadian rhythm, whether you're working or whether you are just getting up in the middle of the night to snack, or you stayed up too late drinking and now you're starving, your body wasn't designed to sleep and digest at the same time. So probably not your best idea to eat in the middle of the night. I actually try to stop eating or finish my final meal 2 to 3 hours before I'm going to bed so that my body can recover efficiently. That's what I need to do. I think the other thing you need to do is kind of take some self-introspection, maybe even journal down, how do I feel when I'm eating? What's going on? What am I doing? Am I eating because I'm stressed out? Because that happens, right? Comfort food. How do I feel while I'm eating, and how do I feel after I eat? And do they have any effect on each other? That's your best way to figure that out. Now, maybe you even need to figure out if you have some sensitivities to certain foods. I have recently discovered I absolutely cannot eat green peppers. I just can't. I know they're a nightshade vegetable, and I love them, but my body immediately tells me that it's not okay. It doesn't want, lectins, right? My body can't deal with it. So I have switched to cucumbers, but listen to your body. It will tell you what you need to know. We just have to slow down enough in order to listen to it and then do something about it. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about. I know it's kind of a weird concept we don't normally talk or think about, but it does matter what you do as much as what you're eating at the same time. So keep that in mind. See if that's something that helps, might work for you. And if you have a comment or something that has worked for you, please leave a comment below. Also, if you have a question a topic that we should talk about, definitely, because I get my very best ideas from you guys. So have an incredible night. And until next Wednesday, you guys, that is Q&A Wednesday. Have a good night now. Back to homework.